My fellow weebs, I hope you're ready for a controversial video because 2021 was truly a blessed time for us anime fans, and there's a lot of excellent candidates for Anime of the Year. However, if you didn't pick Mushoku Tensei for Anime of the Year, don't worry, that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with being wrong. For real though, don't get upset. I'm just another weeb like you, with a penis and an opinion. If you want to show me yours, then leave a comment below and we'll see whose opinion is better. Mushoku Tensei's English title should have been Blowjobless Reincarnation because this anime doesn't suck at all. Jobless Reincarnation really blew me away, but the light novel does lose a couple of points in my opinion because it absolutely ruined my sleep schedule. Other than that, my only complaint is that Roxy figures are way too expensive and I can't pay rent this month. But on a serious note, I don't remember the last time I witnessed an anime adaptation as good as this one. The animation, music, characters, and story are brilliant, but the immersive world is what really separates Mushoku Tensei from everything else I've experienced in 2021. Mushoku Tensei feels a lot like a roller coaster, if roller coasters could give you erections. Week after week, Studio Bind continues to shock me with how much they love this series. It's beautiful when you can tell a studio actually enjoys producing something. I even remember seeing the animators on Twitter fighting over who got to animate certain scenes. That level of passion is about as rare as finding a shiny Pokemon, but it's certainly evident by the incredibly high quality of Mushoku Tensei's remarkable adaptation. But before I talk more about that, let me tell you guys about this video's sponsor. Pocket Comics is a premium webtoon platform with a growing collection of around 400 webtoons from across the globe. Whether you prefer S-tier webcomics like Solo Leveling, 10 out of 10 manga like Real Life, or even a variety of original comics exclusive to this platform, you'll never be bored again if you sign up right now with my link below. You'll get free tickets and coins to get started, so just pick your favorite genre or check out the ranking section to see what's popular. Right now, they're doing a Fall in Love campaign, so there's a bunch of free episodes in the romance category. My favorite genre is fantasy, but I don't have a girlfriend, so romance is practically the same thing. I've been having a great time reading Why Ophelia Couldn't Leave. It's an exciting romance thriller about a beautiful waifu named Ophelia who lost her parents in a tragic accident, but later learns that it wasn't an accident. They were murdered. Also, she's got a crush on her stepbrother. So this is definitely my kind of webtoon, and I'm already addicted. Every chapter has a comment section, so I'll see you guys there. All you gotta do is download the Pocket Comics app right now by using my link in this video's description. Thanks again to Pocket Comics for sponsoring this video. At its core, Mushoku Tensei is the most realistic fantasy story I've ever experienced. You might have noticed how the pacing sometimes fluctuates. We'll get like 5 episodes of slice of life, and then the next one has a major twist that changes everything. And that's intentional, because the pacing in real life fluctuates too, and you've probably experienced that as well. Everything was going smoothly for a long stretch of time until something unexpected happened and your entire life was changed by a single event. In anime, this phenomenon would normally be labeled pacing issues, but Mushoku Tensei is a rare example of a series that pulls it off brilliantly. As a novel reader, I can tell you that Mushoku Tensei has a deep, powerful story, but it's also a long, slow one. The anime is still in the introduction phase, meaning not much has really happened yet in terms of the overall narrative. Yet, because of the top-tier adaptation and the unmatched world building, it's still worthy of being Anime of the Year, even though the story hasn't even peaked yet. What I'm saying is, if Mushoku Tensei gets a couple more seasons, it could seriously end up being one of the greatest anime of all time. Don't get me wrong, Re:Zero is still my favorite isekai, but Mushoku Tensei is getting the type of adaptation I wanted Re:Zero to get. It isn't common for me to feel this way, but I think Mushoku Tensei's adaptation actually improves upon the source material. Obviously, there's advantages to reading the novel instead, like the main character's first-person perspective that isn't as prevalent in the anime, but most of the cut content is understandable, and almost all the changes they make are good ones. I also really admire their decision to include subtle foreshadowing that any other anime would usually deem unnecessary. Even if it means nothing to anime-onlys, giving the novel readers a little attention is something you don't always see nowadays, and I really appreciate the studio going above and beyond to make sure Mushoku Tensei is something truly special for everyone in their audience. That being said, Mushoku Tensei isn't for everyone. If I wanted this video to be several hours long, I could continue praising Mushoku Tensei for everything it does right, but if you watch the anime, then you already know how good it is. That's why I want to address the criticism instead. Mushoku Tensei does not have an idealistic hero protagonist without any flaws. In fact, Rudeus is the complete opposite of your standard isekai protagonist, and at times he reminded me of EDP 445. The only difference is Rudeus actually went to prison. Because of that, Mushoku Tensei can be almost unbearable to watch due to how disturbing his actions are, but with the context of it being a redemption arc, you should understand that his flaws are a necessary part of the narrative. If you're looking for a short-term serotonin shipment, then go watch fucking Citrus or something. But if you're watching Mushoku Tensei, you're in it for the long term, because a redemption arc isn't supposed to feel rewarding until the climax. So don't get confused, the main character's flaws are not Mushoku Tensei's flaws. And don't use the MC's morality as a basis to evaluate the anime. If your problem was with the way his flaws are presented, remember that he's also the narrator. Most of the time we're viewing things from his perspective, and his perspective is supposed to be fucked up. Occasionally we get to experience things from an outside view, and when that happens, the mood completely changes. Regardless, I was wrong about Mushoku Tensei at first, and I was also an enormous hypocrite, because although I hated Rudeus, I had no issue with other characters who did a lot worse. Bad example, but Rudeus used to be my favorite character, and he literally murdered his own children. If you ask me, that's a bit worse than, like, everything Rudeus did, so I felt kinda silly about that. Of course, Rudeus was being deceived by Laplace. So, here's a better example. My favorite anime character ever has committed crimes that make Rudeus look like an angel in comparison. We idolize these characters who commit all sorts of unspeakable crimes, and then for some reason we act like Rudeus is way worse, but that's beside the point. Mushoku Tensei's primary themes are growth and redemption, which is evident by the frequent symbolism, and by the way, this doesn't even apply solely to Rudeus. Almost every character in Mushoku Tensei struggles with their own type of redemption as well. The reason I brought up Rudeus earlier was because he did the worst things I could possibly imagine, and as a result has lived through centuries of torment and guilt in atonement. To make it even worse, when he needed a head pat the most, his hair vanished. The point is, Rudeus has suffered more than anyone. Well, maybe his children suffered a bit more while he was killing them, but through helping others, Rudeus is trying to redeem himself, and most of us really love him as a character now. Guess what though? Rudeus is doing the exact same thing. That's what Mushoku Tensei is about. A wise old dragon named Parthenox once asked,
"What is better, to be born good, or to overcome your evil nature through great effort?"
And then I slaughtered him because I was doing the Blades questline, but Rudeus views his current self and his past self as two separate entities, thus I thought maybe I should be seeing him that way too. Remember during his meetings with Hitogami, Rudeus is uncomfortable being in his previous form, which I assumed was because he looks like a Discord mod, but now I think it might have been because he no longer identifies as the person from his previous life. So even if you absolutely hate Rudeus, he probably feels the same way about himself. Regardless of whether or not you can forgive him, it's okay to support him while he's trying desperately to improve himself. The reason I'm spending so much time analyzing Rudeus is because he's the subject of 99% of the criticism Mushoku Tensei receives. There's a lot of people who rated this anime a 1, which happens to be the same number as their IQ. Yet nobody ever complains about anything other than the main character. Putting Rudeus aside for a second, can any of you find a single flaw with Mushoku Tensei's world building, atmosphere, music, voice acting, story, or animation? This anime is absolutely phenomenal, and I think it's just funny how Rudeus is literally the only thing anyone can find an issue with, yet they still give the series a low rating, even though it's undeniably a 10. Mushoku Tensei definitely deserves to be anime of the year in my opinion, and as a novel reader I can promise you it only gets better from here. We're still in the build-up stage for what's to come, especially as far as Rudeus is concerned, so I really hope this anime keeps getting the masterclass adaptation we've been witnessing this year. Let me know what you guys think though. It's okay if we disagree, but leave a comment cause I still read them all and maybe you can change my mind. Thanks everyone for watching, please remember to like the video and keep talking about Mushoku Tensei. I'm out for now, bye.